Bitcoin spot ETF goes live for trading on Thursday, and we have new highs in this rally as were to be expected for the period, coming up into that event. And now the question is the party over? So we're going to be going over some very, very hard numbers tonight, or tonight, whatever time it might be for you and whatever portion you are in within this world, that if met would suggest that the party is indeed over for a while now, and Bitcoin plays out some higher term time frames sideways and down, probably for the next month or two, if met. Other than that, I want to welcome you back to the Krown Crypto channel. Blah, 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 blah. YouTube stuff. Make sure to like, subscribe, and herp your derp on the derp button as well, because funnily enough, it actually does work, as the numbers on this channel, or the subscribers on this channel, has actually gone up to over 187,000, which is absolutely insane. And to illustrate how insane it is, just go back to the first video, the first year's worth of videos on this channel. It was never meant to get this big, which is actually insane. So I do want to say a heartfelt thank you for joining in on this journey, because it's been pretty damn fun, actually. All right, let's get into the actual chart view over here. First things first, a nice message from everyone's favorite internet guru, Mr. Andrew Tate. He's going to tell you all about crypto, but you wouldn't listen anyways. Why is that? The truth is, you're a loser, like most people. I'm a loser too. You think you're a genius, you think you know everything. That's a very astute observation, Mr. Tate. You continue to fail, you continue to underperform, blah, 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 blah. This goes on fucking forever. It's just large internet copy with a link to join the real world. For only $50, you too can be rich as fuck. Or at least not a loser. So fair enough. Just another reminder of the genius of the internet going on right here. If you've been in the space for a while now, you probably know, you can probably understand, okay, that message was very interesting right there. I wonder what the other thoughts, how do those kind of hold up in light of that? Anyways, enough of that. Let's get into the actual hard numbers for tonight. So first things first, I want to start off this video with some more hard-hitting information as to what numbers, if met on today's daily closure, 2-day closure, 3-day closure, even weekly closure for CME, would suggest that Bitcoin is ready to, is likely done to the upside for a while. So for today's daily closure, what's the magical number to turn daily stochastic momentum to the downside? That would be 45,900. Currently, Bitcoin is trading about 30 to 40 bucks above that pivot as of this moment. 2-day time frame will also turn down and is closing tonight below 46,500. So obviously, if the daily pivot's met, the 2-day pivot will be met, and the 3-day pivot as well, which is also closing tonight too at 46,500. The 5-day pivot, which is not closing tonight, is closing in 3 days, will also come to the downside, assuming Bitcoin's below 48,000 bucks. And for CME, on the weekly, which is closing today, will continue to the downside, assuming that Bitcoin essentially remains below the current high at 49,000 bucks, or so, a little bit below there. So ultimately, when we see all these higher term timeframes start to align with each other, these are, in my experience, pretty good opportunities for, some major pullbacks. Keep in mind, on CME, we do have a nice gap coming in from about very low 39,000 bucks. Also kind of be in alignment with the yellow 21, somewhere around there as well. But ultimately, this is just a game, in my opinion, of looking for the next major higher low. And so if Bitcoin were to play out a pullback, somewhere around there, where would that put us in terms of percentage losses? About 25%. And I do think that'd be kind of like the lower end of what's expected, because remember, on this channel, we've been saying for the past month and a half now, there's very likely a big correction coming sometime in Q1 before the halving, because we've always seen a pretty massive correction starting around the halving, like sometimes a little bit before, a few months leading up to it, sometimes like right on it. But that has been very, very consistent for Bitcoin throughout the history of Bitcoin. So again, if these pivots are met, especially the daily one for today, I would say that's the next big puzzle piece, suggesting that, hey, Bitcoin has put in the highs for a while now, and it's time to be looking for sideways and down, resulting in, first and foremost, very likely a higher low. And this does not change my long-term views on Bitcoin, in the sense that Bitcoin very much more likely to make new highs in this rally sometime later this year, probably after probably after the second quarter, if I had to guess. But in the interim, Bitcoin's been straight up for the past more than a year now. It's not too crazy to be looking for some sideways and down, in my opinion. So again, if those pivots are met, okay. that becomes a real topic of conversation. And if we look at, and we can look at the 2-day time frame setup as pretty much resolved over here, because realistically, you know, for this setup, we expect it to take about, you know, 18, 19 days on average, and the average move is about 27% with the standard deviation of 10 almost. So we have hit within the bounds of that. Bitcoin's gone on for a little bit more than a 20% move from the base of where that started, and it's taken about it'll be like 10 days now. So that'd be definitely on the lower end of average days. So, you know, that's why I do say today's closure for the daily is very, very important to really start to goose the probabilities in favor of this being the next major high. But for now, it's a strong possibility, again, pending today's daily closure. These statistics would certainly incorporate the move that we've seen. Like it wouldn't be crazy to say that that's like it, you know, is what I'm trying to say. The only thing that's a little bit iffy right now is the average amount of days, I'd say. Okay, cool. Now let's move on to the next thing. So I want to revisit this chart as well. This was the chart that we were looking at for sort of timing major highs that are propelled by events in Bitcoin's history. And we have a couple of vertical bars right here in the green side. This correlates to the announcement of CME futures in 2017. This correlates to the actual listing. You can see that Bitcoin basically topped. It actually topped one day before the first official day of trading. But in the period leading up from the announcement to the next, you know, to that trading date, like real trading date, it was just straight up. Which is also why we were saying, hey, coming into yesterday, which was the first day of trading for the ETF, the spot ETF, I should say, Bitcoin's likely to make new highs, probably within the first hour of trading. And that's, I'm trying to toot my own horn here, but that's exactly what we got. And I'm not saying that for that purpose. I'm saying that because you can kind of apply the same logic for most things is what I found in my experience. So you can use that. Again, it doesn't need to be for Bitcoin. Anyways, Coinbase IPO, same shit over here. Announcement in March of 2021, highs made on the first day of trading, and then big fucking correction to follow the next few months. And then what do you know? Bitcoin got its futures ETF BitO. This one was actually announced and then started trading within a day of each other. This one actually did make new highs after that. It wasn't significantly new highs. If we were to look at the wick here, I just need to remove it so I can actually see. It was about 2.5% more, but it did make new highs, to be fair. So this would be the one thing that's like not kind of consistent with what I'm saying right now, but it would still say that timing wise, or sorry, not timing wise, but price wise, we're very fucking close to it, if not have already seen it. So could we, I don't know, maybe see one more wick to the upside into the low 50s? I think at best case scenario, you might get a read towards like 52. But if Bitcoin closed below the pivots that we outlined today, I think that's pretty unlikely. I think that'd be very unlikely. And that we just saw it yesterday alongside that. Anyways, as we move on through the different charts here, let me see. Yeah, also I wanted to bring up this as well. This is just a list of all the corrections that we've seen in the past little over a year now. And again, I want to point out that especially in the last, over the past few months here, Bitcoin's been having more corrections more frequently. Yeah, they haven't been as big, but they are very quick. They are very volatile. And these are very commonly signs of a major high or a major low coming relatively soon. And even just this week, actually, we've seen not just one day, yesterday, of 7% move from high to low, but we've actually seen, all of the past every day this past week, every day this past week has been 7% or more from the high to the low. Monday was almost 10% to the upside. So again, you see these sort of volatile wicks around major highs and major lows. And in this case, after having a rally like this, probably a major high, probably not a major low. In fact, very unlikely. So yeah, again, a lot of things are really kind of aligning here for this acting as a major high, in my opinion. Not necessarily my opinion, but just as far as, the objective information that we've kind of gone over earlier today. As far as the HPDR goes, this one actually still, it's a lot more lenient towards more upside. Yeah, to be fair, it's actually a lot more lenient towards upside. So, you know, if we're gonna play out more upside from here, and this one calls it, I'm just deleting everything else, and I only use the HPDR from now. But again, I do think that there is real cause for concern, assuming that today's daily closures meets the minimum criteria that we outlined earlier. What else do we want to talk about? Actually, Ethereum. So Ethereum is really interesting. I won't go through like a full analysis here on Ethereum, but I do believe that Ethereum actually, while Bitcoin, you know, starts to distribute at this high, I do think that Ethereum actually probably tries for some new highs on this rally. I don't think that Ethereum is done just yet, but it's very consistent with what we've seen in the past as well, where, you know, Bitcoin rallies first, hits its high first, starts to trade sideways in a range, has some, you know, up moves, down moves, blah, 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 but more or less just range moves. And then Ethereum, you know, kind of takes the reins for a while, makes new highs. And then once Ethereum, you know, hits its next major high, then the market kind of all comes down together. And I think that's probably what we're going to see here. So I do think that Bitcoin will spend some time, you know, trading sideways at these highs, basically between like, let's say 40,000 and 46,000 bucks. But while Bitcoin's doing that, you probably will see Ethereum and Ethereum based altcoins take the reins for a while. Once Ethereum tops out, then that's when, if we're going to see like a, you know, a much more prolonged pullback, we'd expect everything to kind of come down together. But until then, Ethereum, yeah, kind of has free enterprise here to continue on with this rally. Maybe put a few more spikes towards 3,000 bucks. Got pretty high yesterday, almost 27. So getting there. And I can already see from my list that Ethereum based altcoins are actually doing decently. So fair enough. You know, that's probably the game for now. And then, you know, as we get closer and closer to the end of this first quarter, the likelihood of this market, again, playing out a pullback, probably below 40,000 bucks, becomes more and more likely as far as timing goes. But again, you know, long term, this is very likely going to be an opportunity. Bitcoin is just, you know, would just be on higher low watch. I mean, shit, anything really above 32,000 bucks is going to look good, is going to look very, very good long term. You know, the monthly could come down, yeah, to like 33 and just test the 21 here, 34, 35 region. So, you know, realistically, if Bitcoin were to come down, you know, let's say from like 50,000, which we can just kind of round up there, to mid 30s, that's a 30% correction. That's kind of par for the course for Bitcoin. You know, I'm just spitballing numbers right here, but again, longer term, would that look anything super crazy? No, not really. Would just be another higher low and set Bitcoin up for, I do believe, an extension of this overall move to the upside later this year. I think that's a good place for me to be leaving off on this video. Hope this one was nice and short and sweet. I wanted to make this one as actionable as possible. And yeah, keep those numbers in mind. Daily, 45,900. Obviously, if the dailies met, then the 2-day, 3-day, and 5-day will be met as well, and weekly for CME. So yeah, we'll leave it right there. As always, want to wish you the best of best. Take care. Much love. There's my bot slave working in the background, unpaid. Actually, it does get paid. It's service, so it costs a little bit of money, but it's fair enough. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.